Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Molly Neese. I lead up the L team, which stands for Employee Leadership, Learning, and Engagement with HR. And within that role, I'm responsible for the full cycle performance and helping leaders and employees really work through the process, encourage one another, set expectations, and continue to persevere in spite of it all. And while that language at the end is not necessarily the common language I would always use, but in this time that we're being faced with this pandemic, I thought, what can I do in relation? If we're going to be called to set these goals, and we all have 3 goals, new goals every year, and what can I do to make your lives easier? So in that thought process, I decided to come up with some sample goals that I feel are pretty close to being pandemic proof. Yeah, dare I say it. But I want to really open your mind and see how you can see your employees, you yourself, in these goals and adapt them to make sense for you, right? So this is what we know. Our last cycle, it ended in July, right? We ended 2019-2020 cycle, had your performance appraisal, and we also know some of those goals that you may have written out for this past cycle may be moving over to this cycle. And that's okay too, right? Yes. And what else we know is that, like I said, we need 3 new goals. And they are to be set by August 31st. And finally, what else that we know is that it's a compressed cycle. So therefore, I'm going to encourage you to not be in the traditional space of we have a whole full cycle. We have a 3/4 cycle. So that means that we have 4 less months. So when you craft these goals, I want you to keep that in mind. Okay? Now, throughout any of this, if you have some questions that you want to reach out to us one-on-one, please do. Mondays are our time to meet with employees regarding full cycle goal creation. So if you're a staff member who does not supervise people, reach out to Olivia Cunningham. If you have questions about the full cycle online system, reach out to Michelle Shackelford. And for me, I work with leaders in order to help them craft their own goals and also help to craft their team goals. So with that said, let's get started. I'm going to do a screen share because we did pull together some sample goals for you to consider. So there are 3 areas in which we broke out this tool for you. We have what's called nesting goals. The nesting goals are ones in which an employee might have a goal that then comes up to the supervisor. So they nest in one another. So for example, create a continuity of work plan and share your knowledge with others in order to decrease institutional memory, right? Institutional memory, as you go out the door, so does all the knowledge, and the organization is left with no knowledge. So because in a time of a pandemic, we need to keep that in mind, that there might be needs of employees in which you did a great job. They were cross-trained, but now both are out and you're thinking, now what? So creating that continuity of work plan, because I've been delivering these programs for our campus through D2LA Gone Virtual. And what the employees were saying is like, oh no, we did that. I said, but does your boss have any idea to know where things are? They don't need to know everything about your job, but do they know where to go and grab things so that they don't have to learn a whole new thing? And they're like, oh no. So if that rings for you, or maybe you find that you don't have some cross-training in particular areas and you're vulnerable. I know in our operation, we identified a few areas of vulnerability that we're going to be working on. So think about that. So take a look at how these are set up. This is for the employee. You'll see that it's not really tight this year either. Sometimes when I write goals, they're so specific. I'm going to encourage this year not to be so specific, because look how I wrote this one. Schedule a meeting with your supervisor prior to October first to discuss what you think the areas of vulnerability are. So you're going to maybe send some documents ahead of time. You're not going to put it in this goal. You're going to have almost attachments that go with these goal settings. So then you're going to have December 1st. That's our mid-cycle point this year. Because remember, we all have to have at least one talent conversation where we discuss our goals. This is a perfect time when you set that plan in place, share with that supervisor by that date and make the changes, right? Remember, you can always make changes to those goals, right? So when you're getting more meat on it, if you want to revise those goals, there's a video for that, only 3 minutes, in order how to do that. And then lastly, at the close, you see that it's January 8th. Give another update and say, what do you have left to complete? And by that time, you should be getting in the mindset of, I'm getting close to self-appraisal time. What do I have left? And the exceeding expectations, you can see some of the ideas to really get some coworkers involved. Test out the job aids that you created to make sure it works. Because many a times, let's say I create something and I give it to someone else and they're like, I can't understand this. It makes sense to you, but I'm lost. So that is why this exceeds expectations. And some of you might be like, no, that should be meets expectations. Well, that's where search your own truth on this one. But in this time of a compressed cycle, I'm going to encourage you to see where maybe in the past you may have said that was meets. Perhaps this year we need to re-examine that. And then make those changes based on the feedback that you received from those coworkers, right? See what you can do. And you'll see that they nest into the supervisor goal because you can set up think tank sessions. And think tank sessions, corporations, global corporations, everybody, they do these sessions in which people come with their ideas, right? And they really think about what are those areas of vulnerability that you come together and this could be if you have 3 different areas within your responsibility leaders, you could have this kind of ripple out, for lack of a better word, right? Ripple out to your organization. And then so that you continue to intentionally, strategically work on this together. And so the exceeding expectations for the leader could be track each idea and challenge. Which ones got off the ground? Analyze why some didn't. So you will see that as a leader, you are to operationalize more or really work out of the more strategic side of your brain. This doesn't. So here are some ideas for one nesting goal. A second nesting goal could be to emphasize the importance of acquiring self-awareness and well-being practices. Because in this time, we've been dealing with uncertainty. It's almost like, oh, what's going to happen this week? Seriously, it is a lot of hard emotional things that people are going through. What we have found this summer when we have launched, because we have 6 different self-awareness tools that your employees could choose from. And that's where you can see that you can consult with our HR team because to really find out the right ones for the employee. So come and reach out. There's some of the employees who have taken advantage of our programs that we have, and then the individual coaching or the group coaching sessions, it has been life-changing for them. It's like, oh my gosh, one employee even said, man, I really needed to look at myself because there are a lot of things that I needed to work on. And again, this is not a tool to be like, oh, it's a developmental tool, right? Just gaining that self-awareness and looking to see, okay, what do I need to do? Do I need to set some boundaries in when I work, especially if you're telecommuting still? What are some things that I need to put into my plan? And you'll see that there's a talent development plan worksheet that we have within our tools that whatever they do, they actually reflect on it. So what did you learn? What are you going to apply? Is there anything there that would be helpful to share with others? Right? So that's that employee goal. And to exceed expectations, you're probably as a leader having staff meetings, at least I'm hoping you are. And that could be a part of it. The first 15 minutes, is dedicated to sharing what you're learning. Why not? So here's some ideas, and then you come back to saying, okay, leader, what do you do as a result of what all your employees are doing? You know, so here are some dates. By October 1st, again, you will see that these have a little bit dates set out because we're coming back. We're returning to campus, many employees. We're starting this semester. We don't know what's going to be happening, right? So yes, we are to set these goals by August 31st, but you have some buffer time to really, really speak with your employees that first week of October. So review the talent development plan worksheets with them, you know, compile a report of learning, complete it. And maybe this then you create that document for all employees that is worthwhile. And that is exceeding expectations. Compile a list of all the learning they thought was worthwhile. This could then build out next year's talent development plans. See how we're going futuristic a little bit? These are all ideas for you to, for you to consider. So if employees choose not to share what they learned with the team, you could still summarize what you learned from the employee since you're having mid-cycles. So there's a lot of things to consider in this nesting goal. So here's the second part. These are just straight up supervisor goals. So how do we lead, involve, and help others anticipate and navigate change? Think about what we're going through. These are the things that you can actually reach out to our office and engage us into a conversation around a talent agent of learning. Now we actually say, okay, this is the learning that I'd like to have for my team, my employee. Can I have some resources around that? You don't have to spend your precious time looking for it. You can actually request that, and then you can find what suits best, right? So use your resources. We are here to help you. So that is where you then lay out that plan to meet and exceeds expectations format. You know, what is it that meets and exceeds? And then share that plan even with your supervisor, right? And any helpful feedback. Involve other people in this, right? This is not good to just keep all of this by yourself. You know, if you're going to anticipate and navigate change, yeah, you can try to do it yourself, but usually and it's some work that you can do on your own, but whenever you do it as a team, it engages people in this state of vulnerability. How do you break that open? So that, because I may have a good day on Monday and Tuesday, it goes downhill, right? And then uphill on Wednesday, downhill on Thursday, you know, so there's going to be some biorhythms that we just need to be aware of for our teams. And if we have some of these type of goals in there, you explain to your employees that you have that, you know what? They're gonna say, okay, he or she, you know, they are looking to really be there for us. It sends a message. So here's another one, and I'm going to do a separate video on this if you're interested in conducting a SWOT, strength, weaknesses, opportunities, or threats, or SOAR analysis, strengths, opportunities, aspirations, and results with your team. So this is where you can reach out to us again. It's like, okay, this makes me a little nervous. I've never done this. I'm glad. You know what? Because you're nervous, that's great. You want to lean into it. This is the best time to do it, right? So what we use this for, at least in our team, is to help us set up for our own success in full cycle. So just last week, Friday, we had a SOAR analysis, and we took the team through it. And that was the jump start to, okay, what do I want to be able to say at the end of these 7 months as a result of full cycle goals? Now, you know, if we develop 3 goals at the end of the year, usually we end up doing 20. But what is it? So you actually have an umbrella of ideas. And so, yes, they're going to really work out some of them, but then it sets a trajectory to success on a lot of other areas as well. So take a look at this. It's a lot of words on the page, but that's why you also have a pause button. All right. So I mentioned think tank sessions before. These 60-minute think tank sessions have been amazing. And why I say have been amazing is because we've offered a few through the D2LA Gone Virtual session, in which people just threw around some ideas and everybody put their thoughts in the tank. So this is again, one of our strategic priorities and our values is innovation. I'm sure a lot of people can have a whole list of how they have reinvented, reimagined, thought creatively, but let's all do that together, right? Let's all continue to have discussions about that. So organize them. And so it's just providing a space where people can continue to think about continuous improvement. How do we pivot? And so because I know, just because I do a lot of coaching and consulting of leaders, those are mainly my focus area. It's really tough for them to even schedule snack breaks, lunches, any of that, because they are so packed full of stuff. If you have this space to just stop, think, retool, this is the magic of all of this. So the next one is lead a team discussion surrounding your individual strengths and how they can benefit the team in these uncertain times. What I have here is Marcus Buckingham's standout strengths assessment. Yeah, we're a strength finder team, and yeah, I know it costs money, but this one doesn't. And it is a phenomenal tool. So it is so clear. It is so easy to understand. I can't even tell you how impressed I am with it. And Marcus Buckingham is a Gallup guy, so he, it's good. So again, use me to really brainstorm how that might look like for your team. If you want a sounding board, that's what we're here for. So often leaders are like, oh, I've taken up your time. I'm like, no, this is a part of my job. so use me. That's what we're here for. So this again, is an opportunity. You can press pause and really read through what this goal is. Another one. How do we build engaged and productive teams? Well, we can provide a space for discussions and activities between departments, across departments, to build knowledge, emotional intelligence, understanding, and compassion. I don't know about you, but I think those are some of the attributes that I think we need to continue to build, sustain, self-awareness on all of that. So look and see you'll see that I have knowledge sharing, diversity and inclusion, all of those are so important to really analyze. And how do you leverage those relationships? Because when other people learn and share, they're more apt to actually practice and do. Think about it. You have a sample of what exceeding expectations could be. You could compile everything and send everything out in a monthly communications with resources, discussion points, ideas shared with the team. You know what? This is where we power up together. So often employees, come to us to gain the knowledge, but then it stops us. It stops with us. I'm like, no. Take that back. Take that back to your teams. Well, if you have this as a leader, as a part of your initiative, you actually invite it. It doesn't feel so awkward sometimes for the employees to be like, okay, I think I should send it. And I know it would help my team. If you say, no, I want this, they're like, well, okay. And so give that opportunity. A lot of employees really have gained a lot of really great knowledge. Why not? Why not give them an opportunity? So for those of you with new employees, this has been a whole new experience. I know you've seen that our operation with that Melissa Cox heads up with our onboarding specialist for staff. She has done an amazing job flipping everything onto a virtual platform. But you as the leader, you're trying to run an operation, onboard new employees, get them strategically aligned with where we're going. What just happened last week? I mean, it can be crazy, right? So here are some goals for new employees that I'd like you to consider. And again, we're in a compressed cycle. So what are we going to do? A position training manual. There are many positions that do not even have anything like that, and do not go old school. It does not have to be in a binder and print it out. We have technology now. We can actually record our own stuff, our own voices, and translate what was said, and then you can put in a document, or you can just put on SharePoint. You can use Teams. You can do so many things now. But what I love about this position training manual is that it talks about interview key point of contacts to introduce yourself to and discuss how your roles support each other. So this gives the power to the employee. Again, just like the performance management process, we are very much in a two-way conversation relationship with setting full cycle goals. This also empowers the new employee to reach out to key point contacts instead of you having to do all the work of lining all these up, and it actually empowers the employee, especially with our younger employees. You will see, and I'm 45 and I like it, they enjoy autonomy. So why not empower them? Why not just say, hey, go out, here are the people, I support you, reach out to them, and you might want to come up with a few questions, that you might want to guide them on that might help them get started. But again, I also encourage new employees to meet with 2 or 3 employees in similar positions, especially if you have admin professionals or business officers or any of those positions that are across the enterprise. Have them start meeting with them to discuss insights about the role and the task, to develop a framework in which to organize the training. By them doing that, guess what? They might say, oh, you don't have to do any of this. I have all this in resources. I'll just give you what I have. And then the new employee's like, jackpot, right? So don't think you need to do everything from scratch. So the next thing is to really identify and request and or schedule the training and access to systems and processes required. That could be that next question. What am I missing, right? I know I need to learn 50 plus systems. I know that's an exaggeration, but it feels like it. What am I missing? What do I need? And then these resource guides for step-by-step instruction to complete certain tasks. Again, you may recall, this sounds very similar to one of these nesting goals, right? The first one that we went over. So these are the kind of things. Create a weekly, monthly, semester, or annual calendar, so that the first year sometimes can be a blur. Why not have this opportunity to really lay it out and build it as you go, so that the next year you don't have to think about, oh my gosh, that feels like so long ago. How did I do that? No, this is exactly what you can do with your position management manual training. So exceeding expectations, these are some ideas. Again, you can press pause, see what makes sense for you and your new employee. These are just ideas, right? So the whole training and application, here's another one. So again, I'm not going to read through each and every one, but again, see what makes sense. This might just springboard an idea for you to then make your own. In the spirit of innovation and process improvement, it has been my experience that some new employees who come to UNCW come with a lot of great ideas, but they're not always received in a way that makes it encouraging to continue to make suggestions and ideas for improvement. If you come out of the gate saying, I'd love for us to have innovation and process improvement as a part of it, because you're coming in with a new set of eyes, think about what that feels to that new employee. So here's what some suggestions as to how to line that one up, right? So sometimes I also notice that new employees, every time they have a new idea, they come to their supervisor, right? So it might be a little overwhelming to the supervisor. So that's why in here it says schedule a meeting, whether it's monthly or quarterly, with the supervisor to discuss the new ideas and process improvements. So you know, as the leader going in, okay, I'm in this frame of mind, let's talk about it. So it gives a greater opportunity for really appreciating a new employee who does come in with some ideas. And not all their ideas are going to be great, but they could be good and made better by you. So keep that spirit in mind. Now, this is the end of the first of hopefully many more videos you're going to get that really enables you to shorten your learning curve. And I hope you found it valuable. If you have any questions about any of this, please reach out. My name is Molly Neese, N-E-C-E. I want to talk to you. I want to help you. I want to just see how we can make your life easier, because after all, our intention is retention. Be well, stay safe, and peace and well-being to you.